This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Morning, Tabes. What's going on, man?
Same old.
Same old.
Another day in paradise. Another day in paradise.
You gonna be in Baum Walker this weekend?
Not going to make it. We were out of town last weekend. We were down in Arlington last weekend. That trip, that was a great trip. Fantastic trip. So we're not going to make it over this weekend.
So they get 2-1 last weekend. You had a good showing from Hagen Smith. You had a good showing from Hunter Holland, not so much from Will McIntyre. What did you see from him last weekend, and what are you expecting out of him on Saturday?
Hagen Smith or McIntyre?
McIntyre.
He was not that far off from having a great outing. He had a couple of bobbles in the infield that hurt him, and he depends on great defense behind him. And he also depends on himself carrying his load, and nobody really talks about the fact that had a little play at first base that would have got him out of the jam. He hesitated. As a pitcher, you never hesitate and watch the infielder depending on him to be able to pull that play off because, you don't know how fast the runner is, and ball to the right side, you break and you go until everything stops. And so he missed that play himself, and I know he's kicking himself for doing that because that's something you work on daily.
Scott, you win the 2 in Arlington, then you come back and you got Grambling, a game everyone's expecting, a big win, maybe the run rule being put in place, and Arkansas has to fight for their life to win that home opener. Walk us through that, and was Grambling just undervalued, or was Arkansas still trying to get over a successful weekend in Arlington? Why did Tuesday play out the way it did?
Well, they just got through facing pitchers that were throwing what you expect to see anymore is, 90-plus, great breaking balls, and every run they bring in is a great arm and blah, blah, blah. And they faced a kid that's hard to hit. He's a true pitcher. He didn't have great velocity. He had 2 or 3 breaking pitches. He moved it around. Most importantly, he changed speeds. And pitching is the part of the game that is relative. Everything's relative to your fastball. Okay, you throw a 78-mile-an-hour fastball, you go, we're going to kill this guy. But if you're throwing it at the knees on the black every time with just a little movement, now he throws a changeup, and it's 68, or it doesn't matter. I don't know the miles. I don't know how hard he was throwing, but relative to your fastball in the same motion, you can't lock in on it. And a pitcher like that depends on you not being able to get locked in on anything. Now, you hit it, you just don't hit it on the nose, that's called pitching contact. You depend on the rest of your team to contribute and do their part, and all of a sudden it's 6th inning and you're up 5 runs.
Hey, Scott, I heard Bubba say on the broadcast during the game against Grambling, what they need to do is put a bunch of pitchers out there to hit. They could rake on that guy. They might not be able to run the bases, but they could rake on him. Because hitters, it is like you say. Every day in practice, you know this better than any of us, but, every day in practice you're facing 90, 95, and, you come into the game, and somebody told me that the the highest that any of their pitches were 82 miles per hour. And it just changes everything.
It does. I tell you, if you want to see something funny, you ought to watch a big leaguer try to hit a slow pitch softball. It's the funniest thing because the ball's changing planes the whole time, which is what a good breaking ball does. So it's just like that. A guy throwing a big loopy curveball, and even in the big leagues, you'll see it. Most of them generally left-handed. They'll throw a great big loopy for curveball, and it's 73 miles an hour, and this guy should be killing it. It's only 73 miles an hour, but it's coming straight down, and it's biting and it's coming straight down. So it's not the velocity of the pitch as much as the bite up and how quick it's going down. And so you have to put the ball on that plane. That's why a flat breaking ball is easy to hit, or a fastball that doesn't sink as easy to hit, because you just get the bat on the plane and let the bat do the rest of the work on that.
Hey, one thing about playing 3 games this weekend, and there's a day-to-dayness to baseball, and again, as someone who's played at the level you've played, you know this better than anyone. But I've always believed that early on, it's hard for a team to get into a rhythm until you get on into the season a little bit, and Sometimes there's 2 or 3 days between games. The weather's not always great. It's kind of a crapshoot sometimes early in the season. But, when I looked at the pieces over the weekend, once you get into the day-to-dayness of the season, I mean, they've got some guys there that are pretty good.
They do. And, they talked about the depth, and that's something that they just built and built and built and built. And this is the part of the season, we talked about it last week. It's like the early part of the basketball season. Muss has to figure out what he's got. He knows from film and from practice the talent that's there, but you have to find out where it's going to fit and if it's going to perform once it gets on the field. Pitchers are the same way. Got to run a lot of people out there, and that's what these midweek games and these early games are for. A guy that is not going to start in the SEC may start, or he may become the first guy out of the bullpen. Now you don't know he's not going to start in the SEC because you haven't gotten to see him, when he actually gets out there on the stage. And so, look at Jason Jones. He got a shot to come in. Callie was just, I just kept waiting to see him hit. We were in the box, and Bill Bakewell had watched him play. Watched him hit the ball a few times. He said, "Guy just rakes." Last week I think he had 4 home runs in inter squad, but that's inter squad where everybody knows everybody knows everybody. And hitting against somebody that you're buddies with is different than hitting against somebody out there that may put one in your ear. Well, not anymore. They can't do that, but it's just a little bit different. Yeah. And so, if Callie gets going, and we all know how that goes, with hitters, all of a sudden somebody gets hot, and he's got some pop. Make no doubt about it. He's got some serious pop. It's just he's got to find his spot and find his rhythm. So it's always early, and you say that every year. It's early, and you can lose these midweek games. Look around the league, look around the nation. UCA, Central Arkansas beat Vanderbilt. Who would ever see that coming? It's not because they're a better team overall. Just that day, they had a day. The pitcher had a day, and their hitters did some things right. Vanderbilt, it's more of a credit to UCA than it is to Vanderbilt. So those are games you hate to lose. It's not the end of the world if you do lose them, but it was great to see them come back the other day. I was listening to it. I never had a doubt they'd come back. It just took their time.
Scott, we'll leave it there this morning. Former Razorback, 1979 College World Series pitcher Scott Tabor joins us every Friday at 6:40. Scott, thanks, man. Enjoy the weekend.
You bet.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.